Become a better personal trainer by becoming a better man. Become a better man by applying knowledge from others who've walked across the fire and have a thing or two to say about it. Listen to Joe as he delves into some of the greatest minds of the best coaches in the world, who bring inspiring stories and powerful insights to share about the human condition. Hear how the fitness industry goes only muscle deep, and how a new breed of trainers are using emotional and mindset hacks to improve as men, evolve their game, and make the competition irrelevant. Trigger your pathway to greater fulfillment. With us, stand in the face of fitness. Welcome to the Fit Man Collective.
Welcome to the Fit Man Collective podcast show. I am Joe Hanney, your host and founder of the Fit Man Collective. This is a show that helps you become a better personal trainer by becoming a better man, a fit man. On today's show, I'm pleased to announce that I have a guest that is the epitome of what a fit man stands for. His name is Chris Dufey. Chris is a physique and health specialist, has multiple successful fitness businesses, is an author, a speaker, a family man, and lives a life on his own terms. He started out as a trainer when he was just 18 years old. He's experienced the rat race that the industry has to offer. He's worked 60 plus hours per week. He's traded his valuable time for money. Chris just wanted to start living a life free from money worries and to have freedom. This episode, therefore, is geared towards helping you build the business and life you really want. You're in for one hell of a show. Before we jump into the show, I want to say a huge thank you. Even though I'm a partner in this business, this episode is brought to you by Organo Gold Coffee. If you'd like to learn about or even sample this healthy coffee that contains this Ganoderma lucidum, which is a rare mushroom that's used to promote health and well-being, not only in yourself, but also your clients, then head over to the Fitman Collective podcast page at www.thefitmancollective.com. Click on the free sample link and I'll get these sent to you as soon as possible. Chris, welcome to the Fit Man Collective podcast show. Right now, you're the epitome of what a fit man is all about. So I'm damn excited to have you on the show today. So how are you, my friend?
I'm very good, mate. I'm very good. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm actually really excited to get into this chat between you.
Great. Just for the audience, Chris, please just give them a quick intro to who you are and a background or the background that you have in the fitness industry, if you may.
All right, who I am. That could be a very deep question if we wanted, depending on how holistic or Zen-like we want to get into it. But I'm a physique coach. I'm a business coach as well. I was a personal trainer from 18 years old. And I grew a business throughout Sydney, personal training, had a bunch of personal trainers working for me. I then ended up taking an opportunity and actually moving to Dubai, built up a personal training business in Dubai. That's also when my wife and I had our first child, Arlo. Everything was great. Like from the outside perspective, on traditional personal training means I was running a really successful business. I was fully booked, charging a super premium rate. Everything was great, except I was tied down in what I just kind of called the time for money trap. So I was effectively selling my time, which is not a good thing, because if I wasn't at the gym, if I wasn't seeing my clients, I wasn't earning any money. And I wanted to actually have a bigger impact. The two biggest things at that point was I wanted to have a really big impact with what I knew and how I could help people. And I wanted to be able to continue traveling around the world, and having the freedom factor was actually something that was really important to me. And I guess probably something that was instilled from reading the 4-Hour Workweek all those years ago. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, we kind of just bit the bullet, and I started my online fitness business. And then a few weeks later, we actually packed everything up, sold everything in Dubai, and actually moved to Bali because that's what we wanted. And it was kind of like burn all our ships behind us and actually take the lead. And it's been a fantastic journey so far.
Excellent. And talking of the multiple successful businesses, your lovely family, the lifestyle of freedom, living between different countries, being able to experience running PT businesses all around the world, online, offline. By any means, this won't be a short or easy answer. But at what point, and you mentioned it briefly, it might have been a book, The 4-Hour Work Week, but at what point did you decide that you wanted more? Because I it's come easy, right? And
it's a great question.
That way.
It's a really good question. I don't know if there was a particular, if there was one straw that broke the camel's back, as in, all right, it's time to make shit happen and stop kind of sitting on my hands and thinking about stuff, was I finished up the gym in Dubai with clients in the afternoon. I had to jump in the car and try and race home. Like you can do some pretty unreal speeds on the roads in Dubai. Racing home, I was living on Palm Jumeirah, that island that looks like a palm. That's where we were living, and I was trying to get back in time to give my daughter the bottle to put her to bed, and I didn't make it in time. And it just crushed me. I was just like, this isn't the dad that I want to be. This isn't the human being I want to be. This isn't the man I want to be. Like, no, like this isn't the life I want to live. It's time to make some change. So I was in the pain, and I was in enough pain to then make me move. But I guess it was a progression of seeing other people in the fitness world, obviously, have success online and kind of dabbling my toe and kind of, do you know what I mean? Just fart-assing around really. But then it was just like, no, it's time to make this happen. And it's been just an unreal journey. Like, I love it. And it is something I truly love. The two worlds of the health, the fitness, physique, and transforming people's bodies and health, but also really learning how business works, the psychology behind it, the marketing. Both of these worlds I just really love.
And fascinating to listen to as well. With the that turning point of racing home, and you not wanting to be the father that you currently were being in that particular moment, I'll get into a much deeper question in a moment, but I'm just trying to put ourselves in our younger selves' shoes. We don't think like that, do we? Or was it something that you experienced as a child? That it might have been how your father were, or I know, for instance, it was for me. My father taught me everything about how not to be a father, husband, man, etc. So my motivation was always to be the opposite of that and be the best I possibly can.
Yep.
Was that the same for you, or was that just that striking moment that you just described to us?
I love that you asked that question. Like, getting deep into shit like this is what I'm all about. Growing up, my parents had me when they were 17 years old. So I've got some really young parents. They're still together today. I was an only child until I was 24 years old. I now have a younger brother. He's obviously young, and it's awesome. And I love my parents. Absolutely. They did the absolute best, and I see the sacrifices that they went through. Obviously, growing up, though, we didn't have a lot of money. And like, this is a deep question. I think this is something that's really important, and it is something I'm working through at the moment, seeing how I can evolve and what is motivating me and how do I become a better person. I don't necessarily think it's I wanted to become a rebellion against what I was seeing. It was seeing maybe what I didn't have and how I was perceiving it, and therefore having the drive, because it honestly is something today. I'm very thankful for the drive that I naturally have and that intrinsic motivation that gets me to kick my legs out of bed each morning. But it's also something that I'm really personally working on, and I'm super happy to go into this and kind of open up. But I would achieve something, and then I would immediately get to top of one mountain and just be like, all right, sweet, let's go to the next mountain. And it was never an appreciation factor coming into it. Yeah. So that's something I'm actually really working on, is how do I appreciate, how do I have the small wins, and how do we celebrate and enjoy it? Because you know what, this is a journey at the end of the day. And I feel like I've created a fantastic life that has freedom. And I'm sitting here right now in my Bali villa of an office, looking out the sun, the pool's right there, the gardens there. This is all really cool. This is the middle of the day. And we get to sit here and have this chat. And I really appreciate this because I also think back to the days where I was literally in a gym for 12 hours a day. I did a point where I was doing 60 to 70 hours of face-to-face training and consultation. So I'm still working on and bringing to a lot of gratefulness to every day. And I think that's a really cool factor.
Yeah, and that's a great answer, by the way. The reason why I asked it, because I'm just thinking, I put myself in the trainer's shoes that's listening, and seeing if we could help them identify this a whole lot sooner than what we did. if that makes sense. It took me to the later ages of my 20s to really come to fully understand what is it that was holding me back. For me, I was punishing myself in many different ways. Reach a level of success, but felt undeserving of that and somehow crashing it all to the ground. So
I'll just jump in. If someone feels like they're self-sabotaging themselves, and I'll be perfectly honest, I think everyone self-sabotages themselves in one way or another. Read a book called The Big Leap.
The Big Leap.
Yeah, The Big Leap. Go and read that. That will be an absolute game changer for you. And trainers can do it a hell of a lot quicker than the way I did it. And that's obviously like when I work with my clients, I'm like, look, I've gone through the trials and tribulations. This is the proven steps that you can now take. And obviously that's the enjoyment factor of actually being able to walk them through what works and avoid what doesn't.
Of course. And that kind of leads on to my next question, really. You've learned from some of the best and possibly like the trainers that are listening. How did you decide on who to listen to and who not to? Because there's a boatload of mentors out there claiming that they can help you in whatever way. And I'm sure they all can. Yeah. What was it for you? How did you decide on a mentor, a coach, when you was trying to figure this all out?
That's a really good question. So kind of coming back, when I went through the phase of like, I just want to be the best personal trainer and the best physique coach, like I literally traveled the world and did seminars, mentorships, like one-on-ones with the best kind of coaches, and would kind of try and get a recommendation from one coach on who else do I go and see and who else do I go and spend time with. And then when it came to the business world, I did something different. I went to who's doing really well in the online world, not in the fitness space. And this is something I still bring to the table today because I see a lot of what people are regurgitating when it comes to fitness, business and marketing. And a lot of it's shit. And a lot of it's just like, that's old and that's just being regurgitated. And a lot of it's tactics. Like, here's a tactic that you can do. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, understand the strategy. And that's where I feel one of my kind of superpowers can be, is understanding the strategy of what's going on and then being able to apply that at the right times. And also like understanding the psychology of what needs to happen behind that as well. So when it comes to learning business, I've had some awesome mentors, and it's multiple of them, and I'm still searching them out, and there's more people I want to get in contact with, and it's been a constant learning process. It's actually funny how it came about, because I never actually kind of like put it out into the world at all, but I actually do marketing strategy now for a couple of companies that are in the fitness world. And I got chatting with them, and they were like, oh, so like, who have you learned from? And I was just like, well, it's completely self-taught. And it's like, I start talking about all the people that I learned like different bits and pieces from and connecting the dots. And it's awesome. Like just this morning, I was learning about the new changes with Facebook ads and how messengers coming into it and how all these strategies work and the best way to understand the psychology and what the best next steps are. And like, then being able to immediately jump on a live stream with my clients and then kind of relay that back on and be like, okay, this is how I'm using it. This is what's worked. This is what hasn't worked. It's a really cool stream of people.
I think that's a great strategy. And from listening to the testimonials on your website, that was one of the key things that stood out to me. Is in better words, they would say something along the lines of step-by-step process. This was more or less holding my hand all the way through this. It wasn't just tactics and go and do it yourself. It was something that you felt very passionate about. You obviously just said that you kind of come about this by teaching yourself, learning from your mistakes. So you have that perspective and that experience to offer them.
Well, one way I've thought about this thus far, and it can be a positive, it can be a negative. Like obviously I try and make it a positive for the clients, but I am still running fitness businesses. Like me being a business coach, if you kind of want to put it under that umbrella, like whatever, that isn't my full-time shtick. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not doing that. Like I see myself running the businesses and in the trenches. So when it comes to, hey, this is what I'm doing, like I literally transfer like my winning funnels and email campaigns and everything like that directly into my clients' accounts. So then they change the flavor of it and can use it as well. So I want to be able to use what I'm doing and then obviously just transfer that across so people can do it as well. And like by no means, I am not the guru at it. I'm just simply in here with you. I might be a couple of steps ahead and therefore I can kind of fast track you along.
Yeah, that's so true. And talking about the multiple income streams and the different businesses that you have, I asked this question from my point of view because as a younger trainer, I was so narrow-minded when it came to looking at any other different business ideas, whether that to go offline onto online, or whether that was even looking into any kind of multi-level marketing scheme, just anything that offered me a different revenue stream. I was very narrow-minded and just thinking, no, this has to be person-to-person contact and just the whole traditional one-to-one personal training, semi-private, whatever you want to, whatever takes your flavour. What advice would you give a trainer that's possibly thinking that way? Because I believe, this is what I believe, that 80%, 90% of trainers still think that way. They don't really want to venture into online or have both offline and online opportunities for themselves.
Okay, let me try and tackle this. I think there's probably 3 ways that we can answer this really well.
Great.
Firstly, when it comes to the business model of a fitness business, the fitness world is changing right now. And I really believe that it's going through a massive change. Let's say one-on-one personal training, there is the time for money trap. There are going to be less one-on-one personal trainers, but I also believe that one-on-one personal trainers are getting a shit ton better. Like, we are getting heaps better, and that's awesome. I don't think it was like 10 years ago where like all these personal trainers are out there, and it's kind of like an industry that was like, oh, it's only for celebrities and stuff like that. It's not like that anymore. Like, no. And I think the industry is getting much better, and I love that, and I want to continue to drive that. Secondly, if you kind of take a step back from that question and seeing like, okay, what is the reasoning? What's the why behind wanting to have other income flows? It's probably wanting to have a higher income and also having more of a freedom factor with it. So when it comes to the income, ask yourself, for the listener right now, I'm asking you, I want you to put through your head and say, what is the income that I want? How much is it that I want to earn? Whenever a new client signs on board, I ask this question. I'm like, look, to tell you the truth, I want to ask this question for 2 reasons. One, and this is the biggest reason, I want to see where your limiting belief is right at. Because if you come back to me and say, I want to earn $100,000, I'm going to immediately say, why isn't that $200,000? Why isn't that $500,000? And I simply just want to know. But when we usually boil it down, it's, well, that's just the number that I kind of came up with. That's the answer that comes back. I'm like, that's cool. Just understand that that's a limiting belief with what you have right now. And the amount of money you earn is only up to you. Cool. Then you've covered that. Then we decide, okay, knowing how much money you want to earn, what's the business model that you want to run? Now, this is kind of the point that you were coming to, and that was, is it just one-on-one personal training? And go, okay, that's cool. Like, that's one option. Is it group training? Is it semi-private training? Is it online personal training? Is it online one-on-one, or is it online group? Is it one-to-many? Is it membership site? Is it one-off products, programs, or services? Is it supplements? Is it affiliates? Is it joint ventures? All these different factors come into it. And like, it's funny because you bring that up, and like, this is the exact process when a new client signs on board, because it's getting that exact clarity on what it is that person wants to create, as in, what's the life that you want to live? What's the freedom you want to have? What's the impact that you want to create? What's the income that you want to be bringing in? And what ticks all of those boxes? Once you tick those boxes, you now have a business model that is actually going to give you what you want at the end of the day. Because I feel like too many trainers will start and go, okay, it's one-on-one personal training. And like, look, I'm only saying this because this is what I did. I go one-on-one personal training. And then you're doing like 60 hours of face-to-face work, and you go, well, how much longer can I keep doing this? Do I do this when I'm 50 years old? Like, what's the progression? What if I want to go on holidays? Like, I don't earn any money because I'm not there seeing my clients. Like, then there's that success ceiling.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and there's a time factor as well, isn't it? Of being there for your family. As you mentioned, you want to ensure that you're there for your family. And I don't think the one-to-one training alone will allow for that, based on you're dictated by their lifestyle rather than your own.
Totally. And that was the thing. For me, that was where I was at, and that was what the changes I have for the guys and girls and all the clients I work with. That's where they're at. If a trainer's like right now going, but I want to do one-on-one personal training, all the power to you. I'm only wanting people to get what they want.
Great. So that kind of epitomizes a very good quote that I took from your website, which was "Stop standing in your own way." And is that what you meant by that, really? Firstly, have somebody ask you some very good questions and put the pressure on yourself to answer them. deflect them, don't put them off for another day kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But is that what you really meant by stop standing in your own way and the success that you want in life is really all down to you?
Exactly. It's completely up to us. You have to take ultimate responsibility upon what's going on. And it's really just figuring out what it is that you want, who can help you get there, who's done those steps. Like that's where the modeling success comes into play. But at the end of the day, you're the one that has to execute on that. And do you know what I mean? I can give you the steps, but if you don't follow the steps, you don't do it. You can take the donkey to water, but if the donkey don't drink, well, he ain't going to drink it. I can write your diet and your training program, but if you don't rock up and do the push-ups, then you're not going to get the results.
Yeah, so true. Just another question aside from this, Chris. You're a very fit man. You look after yourself and you always have done. Do you see a problem in the industry with trainers that probably are too obsessed with getting themselves in shape? So it kind of creates those blind spots in other areas of their lives. And if you do, and if you agree on that or don't, what is your take on this and what advice do you have to that trainer? No,
this is great. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors in this industry, unfortunately, especially when it comes to that world. My health is of a high priority. I do enjoy training and I obviously like to train. And the thing as well is I do want to walk the walk because I still run my fitness businesses. I'm still there and I want to be the face. I want to be helping my members through that as well. And so I enjoy obviously being strong, being lean, being healthy, being being able to do it. I also think a lot of people take it way too far. And I'm going to speak 100% from experience because I got to a point where I did compete as a fitness model. I competed in London, in Denmark, and also in Australia as a physique model. And my goal was, it's going to help my fitness business. Yeah. To tell you the truth, it really doesn't. I don't think it does. Look, don't get me wrong. You've got to be in shape. No one wants a fat personal trainer. No one wants a broke financial advisor. No one wants a dentist cavity, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, are you equipped with what's needed to actually give your clients what's needed for them to get the results? And now I don't really anymore because I don't want to actually specify in it, but I used to do a lot of physique coaching. I used to do a lot of online coaching for people that wanted to do photo shoots or wanted to actually compete themselves. And therefore, I wanted to actually go through it because especially when it comes to really pushing that end and going into those low depths of body fat, look, if someone hasn't gone there, they don't know what it feels like. Do you know what I mean? They don't know what's going on. Yeah. But also, I found a huge problem, and this is actually my next book that I'm writing. A lot of it is about this, is how do you actually get in great shape, stay in great shape, and enjoy life at the same time? Because I see a lot of people losing, literally losing their life because they're trying to get a six-pack or keep a six-pack it's just come off it. It's not the whole world, and I feel like a lot of people are caught up with it, and it's really unfortunate because there is some real mental distress going on out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a great answer. And I think also they can take some positives from that as well, is if they put that amount of time, dedication, willpower, focus into their bodies, if they just put 10% of that into the business of the business side of everything, they will be able to reap the awards from that as well. So there is some crossover.
Oh, totally. Firstly, I think a lot of people actually do it wrong when they're wanting to get in shape and all that kind of stuff, because I think there's a much easier way. So that's obviously something I really focus on. But also, prioritize your life and figure out how to have that transition between the effort and the time and energy that you're putting in. For example, I actually had one client, he was 200 kilos when I first sat down with him. He got referred across to me, and I wanted to actually see him face to face because he was actually here in Bali. And great guy, phenomenal guy, very successful businessman. Company has about over 10,000 staff, so he's worth a lot. And I straight up said to him, I go, why do you not put the effort into building into your body that you did into building your business? And obviously that was a big thing for him. And obviously it kind of secured, look, you've been so successful in the business world. Why can't you put some of that energy and discipline into your own health. And that's a good part, because I think a lot of people can succeed in one area of their life, but unfortunately maybe lacking in another from lack of prioritization.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Because I'm conscious of the time, and you've answered questions superbly with what I've thrown at you today. But just before we finish, are there any kind of words of wisdom, action steps that trainers that are actually listening right now can take away, plug into their business, their mindset for this week, months, or even years ahead?
I shot a video, it was actually just yesterday, for clients, and it was all about, it's totally up to you. You've got to take responsibility, and you've just got to take some steps moving forward. It's not rocket surgery at the end of the day. Stop trying to make it so complicated. Like, I get the emails all the time of people just being confused. So if the trainer right now is confused of not knowing what to do, if you're feeling frustrated with trying certain things and not getting the results that you want, simply realize that it is just some simple steps away. Firstly, you've just got to take ultimate responsibility that it is you. Secondly, get clarity on what it is that you actually want, because I feel like so many people are just like a fart in the wind. They're just floating around everywhere, and they're not even trying to be focused on the exact location, that target that they're wanting to move towards. And then thirdly, just take one step every single day in making sure that you head towards that.
Great. And just where can people find that video, Chris, and also your contact details where people can go and do further research?
Well, the best place to go to is chrisdufey.com. So that's chrisdufey.com. You'll be able to join the private group from that site that'll have the free video. You can jump on board into the actual coaching sessions from there as well. So it's a host of information. I wanted it to create a library where literally trainers and coaches can jump on, soak in the information, and literally take the steps themselves. So that's the best place, and you'll obviously be able to get in contact with me from there.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for your time. So valuable, I'm sure.
Thank you, my man. Chat soon.
One hell of a show, right? The Fitman Collective group is going through a massive upgrade as we speak. So do make sure that you pay the Fitman Collective website a visit. You can do this by going to www.thefitmancollective.com. This is where you can get access to the show notes, links, and any recommended resources that were mentioned in this show. Again, that web address is thefitmancollective.com. www.thefitmancollective.com.
Thank you for listening to the Fitman Collective podcast. This is your life. Don't settle for mediocre. Don't settle for average. Don't even settle for great. Beware the average man who attracts an average companion. Beware the great man who believes they've achieved everything and appears just a little too comfortable. Don't be them. Become the patient wolf. The Fitman Collective is waiting for you. Know yourself. With us, reinvent yourself and your place in this world. Body, mind, health, relationships, career, money, all of it, and more. We can never be caught. We can never be categorized. The Fitman Collective reinvents the future of the Fit Pro. The Fit Man makes his own fate. Join us at thefitmancollective.com.